All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Math Made Easy with Terry in 10 minutes. Okay. We're going to just, this is a follow-up video from the previous one. We're going to start working something more complicated example on the R addition formula. And please, before you watch this video, make sure you've watched the previous video. Also, the 11th video in this series where we talked about introduce the R addition formula. All right. Now, we have this example on the board where we have 4 sine theta plus 3 cos theta will actually be expressed in the form of r sine theta plus alpha. And after that, we should use that to be equal to 2 and find the values of theta between 0 and 360 degrees. Okay, so I taught you two methods. There's a short cut and a long cut. I'm going to solve with both of them. So I also taught you that you need to find the values. Okay, we're looking for r sine theta plus alpha. So we need to find r and we need to find alpha. All right. And I gave you a shortcut where I told you that r is equal to square root of a squared plus b squared. All right. And I told you that in the expression of the angles, the first number here, the coefficient here is the a and the coefficient here is the b. All right. So that means r will be equal to square root of 4 squared plus 3 squared, because a is equal to 4 and b will be equal to what? 3. So therefore, we should be equal to square root of 25. So therefore, r will be equal to 5. Now, the second one was that I told you how to find alpha. I told you alpha is equal to the tan inverse of b over a. Okay, the tan inverse of b over a, which is equal to the b here is 3. So it's going to be the tan inverse of 3 over 4. All right. And when you press your calculator for the tan inverse of 3 over 4, you will notice that your alpha will be 36.87 degrees. Good. Now I'm going to use another method. I'm going to use the longer method where I gave you the 5 rules where I said you have to equate both equations. And after that, I asked you to now expand the R-trig expression, and I listed the rest. So I'm going to follow the method now. So the first thing is that we're going to equate both equations now. So what you're going to do, you're going to have 4 sine theta plus 3 cos theta is equal to r sine theta plus alpha. All right. Now we've gotten this now. The next thing I told you was to expand the bracket. Okay. And I told you, if you remember where we talked about sine a plus b, I told you sine a plus b is sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. So that means I can open this now to be sine theta cos alpha plus cos theta sine alpha. Okay, and this is equal to this, and I can open the bracket. It will be r sine theta cos alpha plus r cos theta sine alpha, and this is equal to 4 sine theta plus 3 cos what? Theta. Now, after this, the next thing I told you that you need to compare similar terms, similar to what we did in partial fractions, where we did coefficient of terms. All right. So we're going to do the same thing here. So this is sine theta. So that means this 4 sine theta, because of the sine theta here, must be equal to r sine theta cos theta. Does that make sense? So that means we can say 4 sine theta is equal to r sine theta cos alpha. So for these two to be equal to each other, that means 4 must be equal to r cos alpha. So that means 4 is equal to r cos alpha. Okay. Now you can repeat the same thing as well for the other one, 3 cos theta. So 3 cos theta must be equal to r cos theta sine alpha for these two equations to be equal. So that means I can now say 3 cos theta is equal to r cos theta sine alpha. All right. So for these two to be equal, it means that 3 must be equal to r sine alpha. So that means 3 is equal to r sine alpha. So the fourth step I told you is that you have to divide the sine by the cosine, right? So that means I have to divide the sine by the cosine, and that will easily give me, this will be, the sine is 3 equal to r sine alpha divided by the cosine, which is 4 equal to r cos alpha. And r will cancel r, and also you know that sine alpha, sine over cosine, is equal to what? Tan. Can you see? So that means this is equal to tan alpha. So that means from this now, we can easily get the remaining, the alpha by just saying, therefore, tan alpha is equal to 3 over 4. And alpha is going to be equal to the tan inverse of 3 over 4, which is exactly what we had in the beginning here. Okay? And that will give us what? 36.87 degrees. Okay. Then after that, we can now get the r. So we can use any of the equation we want here to get the r. So we can decide to use any one. You can use the 4r cos alpha or the 3r sine alpha. So I'm going to see if I can use this one. So we know that 4 is equal to r cos alpha, but we are looking for r. So we divide both sides by what? Cos alpha. So that means r is equal to 4. So this will cancel this. 4 divided by cos alpha. And that will be 4 divided by cos. Our alpha, we had our alpha to be 36.87. And if you solve that, it should give you what? 5. So r is equal to 5. So you can see, you can use either this method you want, or you can use this method. Both of them will give you what? The same thing. So usually in the exam or in the test, I usually prefer to use the shortcut. But in some cases, in some questions, you need to use the long one. But generally, the short one will be better, provided you have everything. Now we found what is the theta? Sorry, we found what is the r and what is the alpha. So we can rewrite the equation now. So we can rewrite the equation again to be, because the equation was 4 sine theta plus 3 cos theta should be equal to r sine theta plus alpha. So now we now know that our r is equal to 5. So we can rewrite it as, we know our r was 5. Yep, r was 5. So we replace this and put 5 here. Sine our theta plus, we know our alpha was 36.87. So this is going to give us 36.87. And this will be the answer for that question. All right, the next one. The other part now said that we should, using the answer from part A, solve the equation 4 sine theta, 3 cos theta to be equal to 2. Is that okay? So that means 4 sine theta plus 3, 4 sine theta plus 3 cos theta to be equal to 2. So then we can solve this. So we are asked to say 4 sine theta plus 3 cos theta to be equal to 2. But we've solved it already, and we know that our answer for 4 sine theta, 3 cos theta is the same thing as saying 5 sine theta plus 36.87. So that means I can replace all this and write it with 5 sine theta plus 36.87, and that will be equal to 2. Now, I can proceed to solve this now. So we're looking for theta. The first thing I would do, I'll divide both sides by 5. I'll divide both sides by 5. And also, one of the most important things to keep in mind is that the angle that we're meant to use for x, it should be between 0, or sorry, not x, theta, I meant theta, between 0 and 360. So this is between 0 and 360. So the angle we're looking at for theta is between 0 and what? 360 degrees. All right. So when this cancels out, that will now be sine theta plus 36.87 will be equal to 0.4, I believe. Now we have it as 0.4. Now, but to make this easy, to make this simple for us to work with, for those that have reviewed my video on simple trigonometries, I told you that when you have things like this, you need to simplify it as much as possible. So let's say, I'm going to say let u to be equal to theta plus 36.87. So all this is going to be sine u to be equal to 0.4. Now it looks very simple, right? Now also, if we're using u, the range has to also be affected as well. So anything that happened to u will also happen to theta. So for u, it's theta plus 36.87. So it means that for each of the lower range and the upper range, we need to add 36.87. So that means the new range now will be 0 plus 36.87 will give you 36.87. Then 360 plus 36.87, and that will give you 396.87. So that means this is the range we're meant to use to solve. Now, we can solve now. Sine u is 0.4, then u is going to be equal to the sine inverse of 0.4. And when you press your calculator for the sine inverse of 0.4, it should give you 23.58. Okay, this is the first angle. Now to get the second angle for theta, for sine, the second angle for sine is 180 minus theta. Okay, and we've talked about this in the previous video. So this is going to be 180 minus 23.58. So please, if you if not solved or you've not reviewed my video on trigonometry, please go back and review it. So where I talked about the first quadrant, all is positive. The second quadrant, which is sine, we have 180 minus theta. The third quadrant, which is tan, is 180 plus theta. And the fourth quadrant, which is cosine, is 360 minus theta, okay? Now, because we're talking about sine, okay, for those of you that are just trying to, it's called the cast system or the arc system, okay? So here's all positive. Here's 180 minus theta. Here's 180 plus theta. And here is 360 minus theta, okay? So you need to go back and watch the video on this, all right? So this is sine. So sine is 180 minus theta. And that will give you 180 minus 23.58 will give us 156.42. Now, the next step is to get the third angle because the range for u is between 336.87 to 396.87. So that's the range for u. So that means we need to also add more. Remember I told you when you get the first and the second angle, then you keep on adding 360 if you're going to the right, or you keep on subtracting 360 if you're going to the left. So we'll keep on adding 360. So it'll be now 23.58 plus 360. And when you do this, 23.58 plus 360 is going to give us 383.58. So you can see you can add more than this. Now, if you look at this, the range that we are looking at is between 36.87 and 396.87. So now the first angle is 23. It's not going to be part of the solution. So the only part of the solution we are having is going to be 156 and 383. So that means the u we have now, your u will be equal to 156.42, and the u we have as well is going to be 383.58. But the question is not asking us to find u. The question is asking us to find theta. But we know u is equal to theta plus 36.8. So that means we can now say that u, which is equal to theta plus 36.87. So this u is something I say theta plus 36.87 is equal to 156.42. So theta now will be equal to, take this to the other side, 156.42 minus 36.87. And 156.42 minus 36.87 will give you 119.55 degrees. Same thing here, our U is theta plus 36.87 is equal to 383.58. So theta now is going to be, take that to the other side, with 383.58 minus 36.87. And when you do that, 383.58 minus 36.87, it should give you 346.71. And that'll be your theta. So for this question here, our theta answers will be 119.55, okay? And 346.71. And that will be the answer for this. Okay? And that will be the answer for this. So like I said, you need to go back and you need to review all the previous videos, especially for basic trigonometry. You need to know, make sure you know this, because we're talking about advanced trig identities here. All right, and that's how you solve it. Okay, yes, so if you have any question, feel free to send me a message, okay? Feel free to send me a message. Feel free to put it in the comment section and I'll get back to you, all right? Thank you very much and have a great day.